So what we're going to do today is to show you how to put a splitter kit within your propane hosing. The advantage of this is you can either run multiple torches or you can run a Smith's torch, which is the one we're going to show you today, which is a jewellery torch, but it's great for working with soft glass and borrow glass in all your setup in your studio. So this is my Smith's torch. Ignore the masking tape, it's a little bit tacky, but when you buy one it'll come in a box like this and you get a fantastic torch, 5 new tips, the torch and a couple of meters of hosing as well. So the splitter kit we're working with is for your propane only, that's all you need. So you've got the propane splitter, you've got what we call a tail, which is what the hose goes on, the nut, and then you've got a whole pack of O-rings as well. And all you'll need extra is a couple of adjustable spanners, so you can get nice tight seals, a Stanley knife, and well, this is an O-ring gripper or a pincer, but you can probably use glass nippers or something like that as well. And we've got a cup of hot water and some leak testing liquid. So first things first, always be safe. Make sure you've disconnected your propane source before you cut the hose, and just run the propane off if there's any pressure left in the hose or anything. And then once this is burnt off, I'll just give it a couple of seconds. You need to work out where in your propane hose you're going to put your splitter kit in. So you've got a couple of meters of hosing with the Smith's torch, so you can do it basically just under the bench, and then you've got that couple of meters of hosing so you can work around the bench or even work on a different workstation. So the propane's just running out there, so we know that the propane's been disconnected. So with your Stanley knife, I'm just going to cut this propane hose around about sort of 2 foot from the torch. The advantage of doing it at this point, there we go, just be careful when you cut through, is that your flashback arrestor, which is on your regulator, is still great for both torches. So rather than using 2 cylinders, 2 regulators, 2 flashback arrestors, the single cylinder, single regulator and single flashback arrestor you've got back on your cylinder will protect both of these torches, so you're not doubling up on price. So I'll split the torch. So I'll split the hose. So this hose goes to the torch, this one goes back off to the regulator, and then just pop them down there. So this is your propane splitter. So take your propane tail, propane nut, put them together, and then just screw this onto one of the T's on your propane splitter. So we're just finger tightening them at the moment, then take another tail and a nut, and this is what we call a coupler. So this is a male to male coupler, and start to join that together as well. And then again just finger tight, and then go on to the back or the incoming port on your propane splitter. So with the adjustable spanners now, we need to tighten these up and make sure they're tight because they have to be gas tight. So a spanner on each nut, and then for the second one, again just grip the nut. A little bit tighter. But it's so, just take your time with this because it's so important that you get this entirely gas tight. So those two nuts are now gas tight. So what we need to do then is to take the shorter piece of the hose which runs to the torch, pop an O-ring on, and then just pop that into a cup of warm water. Now there's various ways you can put hosing on, but what you need to do is soften the hosing. So you can chew it, you can heat it, you can put it in warm water. Obviously when I say heat it with a hairdryer, don't heat it with a flame. Don't under any circumstances put grease or oil or anything on the barb that's in there, because if you put that on to help the hose get on, it can come off just as easily, and it's quite dangerous. So just let that warm up for a couple of seconds. Back to the Smith's torch. You've got obviously the red hose off the Smith's torch is your propane hose, and on the spare tail now we're just going to attach this one here. And again we need to make sure this is gas tight. So finger tighten it first, and then with your spanners And with this particular splitter that we supply you, you've got an on-off option, so you can turn your pressure up or down, and you can close the valve off when you don't want it in use. So now back to your hose from the torch. That's going to be softened just enough now, so with the O-ring on the hose, push that onto the tail and then position the O-ring around about 5mm from the end, and then with your grippers you're just going to flatten the sort of the earpiece on the O-ring. So once you crimp that into position, so I'll hold that there so you can see it, they've been crimped flat. Once that's been done, it's an airtight seal like that. And then all we have to do now is take the second hose, which is the one that goes off to your propane cylinder, and again just warm that for a couple of seconds in boiling water, and then on with your O-ring, and again slide this onto the tail, and remember to crimp it down. So we've connected everything up now. Turn your gas back on at your cylinder, and we just need to do a quick check for gas seal. Make sure everything's nice and safe, you haven't got a gas leak. You can get some leak detector spray, or you can get fairy liquid, a couple of drops in a bottle with water. Just liberally spray it all over, and what you're looking for is bubbles. And so we'll spray that on. If we see any bubbles come up around the joints, we know we've got a leak. But the beauty of propane as well, it's got a stinker fire fitted, so you're going to smell sort of rotten cabbage. That's good, we're happy with that. So we can turn the valves up or down, depending on how much pressure you want coming through, and then we take the Smith's little torch, and I'll just use my mid-range just as a pilot torch, and then we just turn the Smith's on, and there we go. And so that gives us an incredible range of fine torches, flames, and I'll show you in the next video what you can do with it. Right, what I'd like to do is to show you how you work with the Smith's little torch. So my torch is a little bit battered because we use it all the time, and you can also get, this is the best tool ever, magnetic stands, and we supply these, and the torch just clips to it, so you're not having the torch roll about on the bench top or anything like that, so you can leave it like that. So if I want to poke a very, very fine hole through a piece of borosilicate glass hollow vessel, rather than trying to pick it out with a piece of glass and then snap it off and get a bit of a raggedy hole, I can use the Smith's torch. So these are little bulbs that I've sort of blown up, and what I'd like to do is just go around them poking holes through. So if I was making them into pomanders, for instance, and they had potpourri inside and it would let the smell out, so I'll just light the Smith's torch. So I use my minor burner just as like a pilot flame, so put that to one side. And then just to remind you as well, this is running on a 5 litre oxycon that I've teed it into, and the splitter kit that I've teed into as well, so in the propane system. So on a 5 litre oxycon you're probably working with around about 1 to 1.5 litres per minute. And so what I need to do is to hold the bauble here, and then with the Smith's torch, get it quite close, it starts to melt the Smith's torch, the glass, and the torch will just, the flame will pop through. There we go. And then obviously if you want to increase the flame, the power in the flame, you can do this quicker. And go all the way around. And that just gives you the ability to poke holes. And then I'll put that there. Move that out of harm's way. Now I've got some heavy wall tubing here, so this is around about sort of like 26-28mm diameter, I think. And so with this piece I want to be able to join on a smaller piece of tubing around about 10mm. So you can see I've got both hoses going, both torches going now. So I'm just going to get a little reamer and just going to ream out the ends of this tubing just to give it a little funnel shape. And so just with the tubing, I'm going to heat up the side of the tube and the wall, and I'm just going to pull out a little point to begin with. And then just nip that with a pair of marine nippers, and this will get me an open hole, and just use the reamer to widen this a little bit. And then with the, just a little bit bigger, I'm just heating the tubes up to form the best seal I can get with the flame, but it's a little bit, there we go. So I've just tack sealed that on, but it's going to be quite hard to go around it with the minor flame, so I knock that off at this point. And then just with the Smith's torch, I'm going to be able to heat pinpoint accurate. And just work my way around the joint and not distorting any of the tube. I'm just going to be able to heat exactly the tube I want to work on. And where I've blown the tube out a little bit too far, I can just use the Smith's torch to get in there and just melt that tube back in again. And then a little bit more time, you can work your way around it and get a fantastic seal. And then the final little piece I want to show you with the torch, I'll just pop the torch down here for a second. So the final piece I want to show you now is with this marble I made it a couple of days ago. And it's just got like a scale, or what I call a bullet hole crack on the side of the marble. Now I'll put this in the kiln, I've heated it up to 525, I've left it to soak for a couple of hours, and I'll get it out with a pair of vessel grabbers, and I'm just going to pinpoint the exact part on the marble where I want to heat it with the Smith's torch and just start to flame polish this crack out. So I'm not having to heat the whole marble. Because it's 525, I'm pretty confident I can do this and get it straight back in the kiln and leave it to soak for 5 or 6 hours without having to heat and reshape the whole of the marble. There we go.